Hi, and welcome to this Lionhead tutorial. So first of all, we're gonna see loading the reference images. So we're gonna go to the Creation tab and Blueprint. In here we're gonna choose the 34 images that we're gonna use as reference for our model. So the front view, let's go to Files, Lionhead, the front Lionhead, and the side view, we're gonna choose the side view of the head. So let's click on OK. If we had more images, we could just put more of them. This is the blueprint that we have. So we're gonna scale that, just holding Shift to keep the same dimensions. Going here, OK. More or less from the front view. So I think that the image is not perfectly centered, so I'm gonna center it manually, so something like that, and I'm gonna move it a little bit, just a little bit, so it's gonna be a reference. I'm gonna move it down. Okay, something like that's gonna be fine. So first of all, before starting, maybe I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. Before starting, I'll put this blueprint in another layer, so right click another layer, and let's type blueprint. Right click on blueprint and change object to this layer. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock the layer so I don't click by mistake on the blueprint. So let's start. To start small, we're going to use the append face tool, and we're going to start creating the main topology loops of faces. Okay, so let's go to creation and append face. First of all, I'm going to start from the right view, more or less, and I'm going to do this first part. So I'm going to just make a few faces here. So one here, another one here. I'm going to change the display mode to shaded. Okay, and I'm going to start creating the main shape. Depending on the quality that we want, well, in this case it's not touching, but it's no problem. I just misclicked the point. Okay, depending on the quality or the resolution that you want for your model, maybe you want more or less faces on this first step. So in here I'm gonna go to vertex, select those vertex, and let's go to weld. Okay. So this is gonna be the main shape. And from the front view, I want to make sure that, let's change to shaded, that it's more or less aligned. So it more or less it is. So I'm gonna just unlock the blueprint, and I'm gonna move it a little bit more to the right. Okay, there we go. So from the right view right now, let's double click this part in here, and from the front I'm gonna move that slightly. Okay, right there. And for sure from here I can refine the vertex and everything. Okay, so this is the shape that I have right now, just starting the lion head. In fact, this part is totally flattened, so to make it perfectly flatter, I'm gonna double click again, and I'm gonna move it maybe from the front view. I'm gonna move it a little bit upper. So okay, like that's gonna be better. So you have to think if the part is flat or it's not, and which is the shape that it's following. Okay. So now I'm gonna start with this part in here, and I'm gonna make these to follow all the head that we have on the lion. So I'm gonna hold Alt in here, and I'm gonna just drag that. Okay. And I'm gonna make some of the extrusions. I don't care about the shape. I just care a little bit more about the direction that it's following all my segments. Okay, so something like that. Right now I'm gonna active hotkeys just to run the toolbar and report command. So WER and 1 2 3 4. Okay, so it's gonna be faster for us just to refine the shaping here. Okay, so something like that will be nice. That's okay. What's the problem now? If I go to the front view, everything is perfectly aligned. Okay, so that's not what we want. I want this part to be a little bit to the center, but I'll have to match, or to make it match a little bit better from this side view. Sorry. So I'm gonna refine the parts in here to follow this part of the head, this shape, to follow a little bit better. So from the right, now I have to fit this part in here. So just move it a little bit, move this edge like that, and this one. So right now we are following the head shape with the segments, the divisions that we have placed in here. So for sure we will have to play with all the views to make it fit correctly. So maybe this part should be a little bit to the front. Okay, so in here we can see that this part is still flattened, and this it goes down, and this stays to the center. So something like that's gonna be fine. Maybe later if we need to, we're gonna add more segments, so no problem at all. We are now just defining the basic shape that we want to give to the lion head. Okay, if I go to the front view, by the way, I'm gonna see that this part, it goes flatter and it goes down a little bit, so maybe I'm gonna add a new division, so divide, and I'm gonna put a division in here, select the edge, and maybe something like this is gonna do the work. Okay. From the right view, okay, I think that's pretty good. So we can still refining until we want, but just to create the basic shape, it's gonna be more than enough. Okay, now let's work with the mouth in here. So we're gonna do exactly the same. Okay, so starting with a pen face. In here there is an insertion in here, so we have to make sure that we put this this edge in here. So we're gonna do something like that. Okay, this is gonna be the inner one. Okay, and from here we're gonna start with the outer one. Okay, so something like this. Okay, now in here we can we could merge both of them, but it's no problem. So something like that, and then we can create another one in here and another one there. So in here we can choose if we want to merge it with this part or not. Maybe in this case it's gonna be fine if we merge it, but from here I'll create new faces. So something like that's gonna be fine. So right now what we have to do is just to make it follow the correct shape. So first of all, let's select on this edge, and it's gonna be something like this. This one is the inner one that we have placed, so I have to make sure that this one is aligned with all this part. Okay, so from the front view it's gonna be this inner part in here. So from the right view, or from the perspective, I'm gonna start picking this one and moving it outside, this one, moving it outside, and from the front view I can make sure that I'm placing it where it has to be. Okay, so something like this, it's gonna be fine. If we had a top view, this will be so helpful. So I'm gonna move that a little bit. Okay. So this shape, it's kind of weird. So let me display it in wireframe mode, just to change the size of this part in here, and the inner part just make it like that. Okay, and refine all this boring here. Maybe the work is a little bit bored, but working hard on the very first step, it's gonna allow us to save a lot of time when the model turns more complicated. So here from the front view, we can just make sure that we follow the shape here, the mouth shape and everything. So we can move that a little bit like that. This part it's quite okay. Maybe I prefer that to be the same heading here. Okay. Kind of move it down a little bit. And I have this is fine. Okay, so this is the result that we're having right now. So let's check if this point from the front view, maybe a little bit inside. All these formats must be a little bit more inside, and also this point in here. Okay, but something like that's gonna make the work. So for sure, anytime we want to change anything, we can. So it's no problem if we want to change it later. Maybe I don't like this part like that. I prefer a little bit more like this. But no problem. Okay, so right now we're gonna have to feed this part with this part in here, with all this part. So let's work with the nose in here. It's gonna give us a good reference. So from the front view, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that I have all the divisions that I need to create the nose and then create the insertion and everything. So to do that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this edge in here, I'm gonna hold Alt and create a new division, and I'm gonna hold Alt again and create another one. And from this side, exactly the same, holding Alt and creating a new division. Maybe I could create two, but let's try at first with one. So from the right view, just refine the shape. Also in here, refine the shape, go to vertex, and refine this vertex and this part in here. Something like that's gonna be fine. What I'm gonna do is then I'm gonna create an inset in here. So and then creating the extrusion for the nose. So something like that's what I'm looking for. Okay, right there. So now it's time to start filling all this part in here. So maybe I'm gonna move this a little bit. Okay, like this. And now I'm gonna try. First of all, I'm gonna save it. So save as. I'm gonna go to Lionhead. So I remember to. Sorry, I got it in English. So Lionhead. I recommend to save the file every time you remember that you have to save it. Okay, so in case that something happens, so we can always go back and recover the file. So how do we fill all these parts in here? So we have the shape. So maybe I'm going to refine it a little bit more. Okay, like that. And what we're going to do is, for instance, going to all those edges in here, and from the front view, I'm going to hold Alt and extrude that. And the same with these parts in here. So holding Alt and extrude. Okay, perfect. Now we have to make it match a little bit from the right view. So let's just move it a little bit, something like that. And exactly the same in here. Double click, going to the right view and put it like this. We're going to rotate that a little bit. And what I have to do is merge this point to this point. So we're going to weld that. So go here to weld, or the Z if you want to use the hotkeys, and merge that, and also the same in here. Repeat the command with right click, and there we go, and also in here to here. Perfect. Now it's starting to take a really good shape. For sure, after any of these extrusions, we'll have to refine the shape at least a little bit. Okay, so it seems quite good. So right now what I'm gonna do, it's I want to make sure that this part fits correctly, and then we're gonna go for the eye. That maybe are the two hardest parts in here. So I'm gonna make this part to fit in there. So I'm gonna extrude that from the front view, make sure that this is the shape that I want it to take. So maybe this part is gonna be a little bit more outside. Also this one. From the right view, just extrude it to here, and from the front view, let's make sure that it takes the shape that we want it to, and I'll have to fit it into this. We can match it or bridge that, but maybe this part is too big and these feet are too small. So what we can do is just select both of them and append the facing here, and then refining a little bit the size, so going to smaller to bigger. Okay, something like that. And from the front view, make sure that this is following a little bit the shape that we're looking for. So maybe here we're gonna need more division, or putting these parts a little bit to the inside. So in here we have to make sure that the nose goes like that, and it goes down. But I think it's doing the work. And in here just selecting these two edges and adding faces. So append face, it's clicking the A on the hotkeys, so clicking two edges, clicking A if your hotkey is active, or going to append face. Perfect. From the front view, it's taking a good shape. I'm sure that at the end I'll have to select all this loop of edges and make it a little bit more to the inside, and also those ones, and move it up a little bit. But we're gonna let the details for the end. Okay. I'm gonna do exactly the same in here, so I can double click in here and extrude that, and then make it fit on the top and on the bottom. So I'm gonna scale that a little bit into the move it, and from the perspective I'm gonna weld this point into here and this point there. So go into vertices and weld from this point to here. Oops, sorry, it was from this point to here. And maybe in here it's gonna be better if we add one division. Well, let's try it without adding more divisions. So from here to here, and from the front view, let's see how it's going. It doesn't seem bad at all. And let's see how can we end this this part in here. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna just select those and append facing here, and if I want to keep everything with quads, maybe I'll go like this and I'll go like this. Right now everything is quad, but I'm getting one triangle in here and I don't like it. But the nose, it's gonna be strange shape, so yeah, maybe I'm gonna keep a triangle in here, or yeah, maybe what I prefer, I'm gonna get rid of that, so select and delete. And maybe from the front view, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make this face in here. Okay, so it's twisting a little bit. Yeah, maybe I prefer it twisted to the other part, so like this. And now add face. Okay, this is gonna be much better for the result that I'm looking for. and then selecting these two edges and click A for append face. Okay, and now from the front view I can more or less keep this part in here, and I can keep this shape there. Okay, let's display it in wireframe so I can keep all this part there, so I can refine the shape a little bit, and this part in here. For sure, usually in these cases there are many options. Okay, and maybe the first time you model that you're going to choose one, the second one you're going to choose another one, so no problem. There's no bad selection, so what you choose, just have to make it work the way we are modeling this lion head. So if it works, it's good enough. So this vertex, we're gonna make it a little bit down. Okay, like this is gonna be fine. So right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select maybe this part in here. Okay, and I'm gonna insert that. Okay, so maybe I won't need this facing here, so let me just deselect this one, and in here I'm gonna insert that. So let's come here and insert. Okay, perfect. Now I don't need these parts in here because the object it's not symmetrical yet, but I will make it symmetrical in the future. So like this, it's gonna be what I'm looking for. So perfect. Okay, so the nose part it's more or less finished. So let's go for the eye. Okay, we're gonna go for the mouth later. That maybe it's not as difficult as it seems. So let's go for the eye. Let's go to the front view, and what I recommend you always is for the eye creating new append faces. And maybe in this case, maybe 6 or 7 divisions gonna be more than enough. Let's see how many do we need. So let's go for 1 in here, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think we're gonna add more later. Maybe 6. It's not enough. It won't fit perfectly with the divisions of the lion, but let's see. I always recommend to start with as less subdivisions or segments as we can, and then anytime we can add more, can make the rest of the model fit a little bit better. So this is the eye, and from the right view, look, where is it? So I'm gonna put it more or less here, and I'm gonna rotate it a little bit. Okay, just to make that from the right view it fits a little bit better. I don't like it to rotate from one of the views. I prefer it from the perspective, so something like that. And from the right view we're gonna see that it's taking a more realistic shape right now. And another trick, it's rotating like this, the part of the eye. Okay, so the bottom part it's more inside, and the top part it's a little bit more outside. Okay, so it's not bad. So right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna match it with all the other parts. So maybe from here to here, and we're gonna add one facing here. So sometimes in this case are 2 different objects, so it doesn't let me add without pre-selection, so I can go without any selection and going point by point. Okay, that's the other way, or we can bridge that. Okay, it's gonna do exactly the same. So right now, yes, I can use the append face, and I'm gonna use the append face also here. And maybe what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end all this part in here. So double click, extrude, go to the front view, make sure that it is taking the shape that I want to, and I can select these two. Maybe not, this is the one that I want to follow, so I want this one to weld into this one. Okay, now let's refine a little bit the top part in here. So we need less resolution here on the top part, so maybe we can even remove some faces. We're gonna do it later. And what we're missing, it's all this part in here, all the cheek part, but it's not a difficult one, so we just have to follow all the divisions that we had in here. So what I recommend is to finish this part, okay, from the eye to the end of the head, if I can with one or with two divisions. And from the front view, just make sure that this is doing the work. I think it's this one. No, it's not. It's the other one. This one. There we go. Okay, like that. So now we have more or less all the base divisions segments along the entire object, the entire piece in this case. Maybe in here I'm gonna add one division, or no, maybe I won't add more. I will just refine the shape. Okay, and I'll have to make sure that with the divisions that I've placed along my object, I can just finish all the head part. Okay, so for instance, I'm gonna select all these ones in here, maybe not these ones, and from the right view, make sure that I can do something like this, and it can fit perfectly with this part in here. So selecting, moving it outside a little bit. This part has to go even more outside. Select these parts, add face with the A, the pen face tool. We're gonna have to do the same for this other division. So holding Alt like this, and from the front view, making sure that it goes to the outside, and welding from this point to this point. We are welding to the second point because this is the one that we extract from the eye, so this is the correct one. So the one that we are sure that has the correct position. And now we're going to refine this shaping here. To finish the top part, it's going to be so much easier, and the bottom one is going to be also easy. So this is the result that we are having right now. We'll have to refine a little bit more the vertex and everything here, but it's not taking a bad shape. So from the front view, I think that I can even get rid of that. So just delete, and let's end this top part. It's gonna be easy. So extrude once in here, like that. Extrude twice, 3 times. And make it weld, so Z from this to this, repeat the command, right click from this to this, and repeat again from here to here. Okay, and now we're gonna refine a little bit this shaping here. So from the bottom you can see that this is not taking an organic shape, so just refine that a little bit. It should be nice if we had a top picture, but so something like that. As more pictures we have, we can make sure that the result that we are getting is even better. But with 2 it's more than enough. Even with 1, depending on the model, we can get amazing results. Okay, so something like this. Okay, and let's end this part in here. So maybe what I'm gonna do is weld this point with this one, and I'm gonna make it like this. So as I told you before, we don't need as much resolution as on the other part of the model in here, so it's totally fine if we go like this. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna refine later all the bumps on the face and everything. So to finish this part in here, we can create this facing here from here to here. So add 1 face, and we're gonna see later what we do with this part in here. Maybe we can rid off all this part, or we're gonna see. So what happens with the bottom part that we just forget, or totally forget? So let's finish the mouthing here. So first of all, maybe I'm gonna need one more division here on the bottom part, but anyway, I'm gonna try it with these ones. So the first that I have to do is select all these parts in here, and I'm gonna go for the inner part. Okay, so from the front view, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just hold. I'm gonna do it with a scale gumball, holding Alt and extruding that a little bit. Okay, something like this. And now I'm gonna make it fit where they have to be. So in here I want this to be here and aligned to the center. As you can see, I'm still working just with 1/2 of the face, so just at the end, or when I have my model a little bit more advanced, I'm gonna make the symmetry. Right now it's easier for everyone to keep modeling with just one part. Okay, and I'm gonna go for the same on the bottom part, so holding Alt and just dragging a little bit, and now refining the extrusion. Now welding again, so that to do this part in here. Okay, so now I can see better when do I have to refine my mouth shape, so which are the vertex that I have to move outside or inside. That maybe before I didn't know because there was no extrusion yet, so right now it's easier to see where do I have to move everything. So maybe I'm gonna need more definition in here, but first of all, before adding more faces, I'm gonna try to move it like that. So maybe it's gonna give us the resolution that I need. Okay, and how do we finish this bottom part in here? So I'm gonna do exactly the same that I've done in here on the top part when we started. So I'm gonna do the same in here for all the bottom part. So I'm gonna start with from the front view. I'm gonna start from this edging here, so this bottom part, and just holding Alt and extruding it, and then Alt again and extruding it, and then Alt again and extruding it. Maybe I don't like this so much of this hole in here. For me it's too big, so I'm gonna go for something like that. Maybe a little bit more, but I don't like it when it's too much. This change of height in here. Sorry, I've weld. Okay, and now in here we can refine this part. So move it a little bit outside, like this. Okay. So now from the front view everything goes fine. Maybe you have to move that a little bit, but from the right view, as we can see, we have to do so much work. So refine the shape a little bit in here. We'll have to make those vertex a little bit more together. Okay, and now just make sure that this fits with this part in here, so it goes this rounded shape. Okay, so from here what I have to do, it's I'm gonna create just one face from here to here. I'm gonna create one face from here to here, and maybe what I have to do is move it a little bit more outside, so from the front view matches a little bit better. As I told you, this is just a reference, so if I want this part to match perfectly, I'm gonna have to make this part a little bit bigger, but I prefer this part smaller, so I think the result it's better. And maybe if this is the bottom part, I'm gonna want to add this into this, so I'm gonna match the edges. So let's go to match from this edge to this edge and right click again. Okay, when I've matched, I had to validate all the steps that I've done. Perfect, and from the bottom it's fine. Maybe in here I have to move it a little bit outside. So something like this. It's so good. Okay, so now we have to finish this part in here. So how to match this part with this part. So from the front view, yeah, I'll have to make everything matching here. So select all these edges and I'm gonna extrude twice. Okay, and from the front view I'm gonna move one of the extrusions, go to right view, select the other extrusions, and from the front just move it a little bit. Okay, now I'm gonna refine this bottom part, no problem. So first of all I'm gonna select these two and weld it in here, and also zoom in a little bit and weld from here to here. Okay, so we just finished the basic shape, so now we have to refine it. Okay, so in here this part must go a little bit upper, so let's refine all this part in here. So how do we refine that? Here we don't have geometry, the head goes like that and it ends in here. So we just have to move all this by edges or vertex. I prefer with vertex. Well, for me it's a little bit easier. Just move it a lot. Okay, move it a lot. Don't have any fear of moving a lot the vertex. Okay, in this case we have the basic shape perfectly done and it's good enough. So when we have this this good topology, don't worry if we move the points a lot. Okay, the shape, it won't change a lot. So just make sure that this is taking the shape that we're looking for. So I don't like to follow pictures just perfectly, just 100% exact. So I just wanted to take a reference. So at this point, maybe I don't even need the reference images. Okay, so this is the result that I'm having right now. So let's hit in rendered mode. So it has quite a good shape. Maybe I'll have to refine in here the cheek. Okay, but the shape it's quite good. Okay, so from the front view, let me just check this direction in here of this loop of edges from the front view. It's not bad at all. Okay, and in here we have two options with this loop of edges, so we can just finish it down there and have one more loop, or we can get rid of it. Okay, we can choose whatever we want. I think that I prefer to finish it, so we don't have so much resolution, so I prefer to finish that and merge it from here to here with the weld tool. And here maybe we can refine a little bit. We have abandoned the mouth totally in here, so we can just refine that a little bit. But as I told you, this part it's quite easy in comparison with all the other parts. So right now we have to finish this this mouth. So what I like to do, it's going like this. Okay, going to R, maybe no, going to W. I'm gonna hold Control and I'm gonna move just the gimbal, the move gimbal. Okay, and now I'm gonna click R to change the gimbal to scale, and now I'm gonna hold Alt and extrude that a little bit. Okay, now maybe this is not the best way, but no, I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna show you a better way to do that maybe it's a little bit easier. So let's select all the edges but these two at the beginning. So W to change the gimbal to move, and hold Alt and extrude. Now I'm gonna scale that to make it align to the center, something like this. And now I'll just go weld from here to here and go weld from here to here. There we go. Okay, maybe this part maybe this is even easier. Okay, now in here we have a weird edge. So how can we solve this weird edge? So
The best way is creating a triangle in here and adding one face there. Okay, so in here we don't care so much about creating this triangle, so it's small, it's on the inside part. It won't affect too much on the entire topology of the model. Okay, I try to avoid triangles anytime I can, but in here it won't make so much of a big deal. So it's gonna be more than a good solution in this case. Okay, if we don't want to create this triangle, so what I'd recommend is get rid of this part and divide the entire mouth like that. Okay, and just finish the entire loop. Okay, this will be the other way to solve that. In this case, it's so much harder to do it like this, so I prefer to create a triangle or keep an angle in here. It also won't be a big deal, okay, to have an angle in here, so we can also give it like this. So when we subdivide a model, we won't have any angle, so no problem, don't be worried about it. We want to try to get rid of angles just because it's easier to keep the UVs and everything, and it's gonna be easier when we are modeling. But in this case, it's gonna save us a lot of time, so maybe it's worth it. So let me save that. So much time since the last time I saved the model. So now what I'm gonna do, it's I'm gonna give more resolution to the eye, for instance. Okay, so how do I give more resolution to the eye? So for instance, giving divisions. So I'm gonna go here to divisions and putting a division like that. Okay, I want the eye to be inside and then go outside. Okay, so now I'm gonna give more resolution to the eye, but I don't want maybe that resolution, so maybe a little bit less in here. And the good part, I've added resolution on the eye, so I can give the outer segments that I have around, I can give them a different shape. So if I move that outside, I'll give my eye a different view. Okay, so I'm giving more extrusion on the top and on the bottom and everything. So it's gonna be so much more realistic. The same with the cheeks. So right now I need more extrusions in here on this part, so it's totally flattened. So I'm gonna select this point on the cheeks in here, and I'm gonna move it a little bit outside, so you can see it better from here. So I can give a real extrusion in here, so I can see how the shape is changing. Okay, so I'm gonna just move some of those points to create this this rounded shape in here. Okay, it's also happening the same in here. I don't need this resolution on this part in here, so I can just give less resolution to all this part. So to give it less resolution, I'm gonna just move it to the inside. Okay, like this. And the model changes so much when we just add all these shapes in here. Also in the nose part, if we just grab some of the vertex or the edges, maybe here with the edges, and from the right view I just make it outside, maybe two outside, one inside, two more outside. We can see that we can change the shaping here, even if we move it a little bit. So we can get awesome resolution just changing a little bit some of the shapes in here. Okay, and also if we want more definition, what we have to do in here is just join it a little bit, and we're gonna get more resolution in here. Okay, and also moving this up a little bit, and we're gonna get more resolution. So this is so easy to do, and if we create a good topology. Okay, if we don't, it's gonna be so hard. Okay, if we create a good topology, changing the shape at the end, it's gonna be so easy. If we don't, it won't be that easy, that's for sure. So I think that on this step, the most important part is to have a good topology. Okay, and then we can refine anything we want. So maybe now what we can do is we can just create the nose. So to create the nose, let's go to the right view and let's see what do we need. Maybe I'm gonna select these 3 faces in here and I'm gonna move it inside a little bit. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold Alt and extrude it to the outside. Okay, so this is the result that I'm having right now. It's not bad. So I'm gonna just select these 2, adjust and get rid of them. Okay, perfect. So now that I more or less have the shape that I want, I can keep refining until we get all the details that we're looking for. This can help us with a lot of different models, okay, not only a lion head, but human face or any other animal, because the way to create that it's so much similar. Okay, so we can use the same workflow that we've used in here to create any kind of piece that needs certain definition, like human heads, all kind of complex animals. So this is going to be the same workflow. So now I'm going to make sure that all the central loop of edges, so double click, it's perfectly aligned. So clicking R, I have to get rid of those. I don't need those. Okay, and just move this in the red axis, or double click and type 0 in here as you prefer. Okay, and now I'm ready to create the symmetry. Before creating the symmetry, I prefer, for instance, to close my eye. In this case, I can close it with 2 quads, but as I don't need any kind of definition inside the eye, so I just want to close it. I can feel that. So, okay, so I can feel the eye, and the result, it won't be bad at all. So it's gonna be easier for me if I want to pull it up or down. Okay, later. For sure I can create 2 quads in here, so it's no problem at all. But I'll create just an end one. Okay, what else are we missing here? So maybe the insertion of the mouth. So I'm gonna select all the mouth in here, and I'm gonna extrude that to the inside. Before extruding that to the inside, I'll have to make sure that in here there is more space, like the throat and everything in here. So maybe the first that I'm gonna do is select these two faces and holding Alt and extruding that a little bit. And now I'm gonna get rid of this part in here. So now the mouth goes like this, and we can refine the inner division so the mouth can grow on the inside part. Okay, something like that. Okay, perfect. So now we are more or less ready, but in here I'll still extruding that. I don't need those ones. In here and in here and this one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extrude that to the outside. So I'm gonna come here and extrude. So instead of by group, I'm gonna go local normals, and I'm gonna go to the opposite direction. Okay, like this. Maybe not too much, just a little bit, but just to have the inside. Okay, the inside division. Okay, let's right click, and now I'll have to make sure that I get rid of just the inner ones. So select all the inner parts and delete. Okay, perfect. Now I can refine a little bit more the shape if I have to, or refine maybe these 2 edges in here like that, so we have more rounded edge in here. But it's quite good. Refine a little bit this, so it goes like gradually. Okay, so now maybe it's time to create the symmetry of my lion. So maybe I'll have to make sure one more time that everything is aligned. So there we go. Now I want to make sure that also this part have to be aligned. I don't know why I didn't align it the first time. There we go. Okay, and now yes, we are ready to the for the symmetry. So go edition, go symmetry. In this case, I can use an edge loop. So this edge loop, right click, everything is fine. We don't have to end threshold or anything. So just right click, and there we go with the symmetry. So what are we missing right now? So we're missing the ears. Okay. So how do we create ears? So we'll have first to create more divisions in here. So right now select all of them, holding Alt, and we can just go like this to create one more division. Okay, I can do it once, twice, all the times that I need to. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna do it one more time. Okay, and this is gonna be the base. Okay, maybe I'm gonna rotate that a little bit. Also this one. So this is gonna be the base for the ears. Okay, I'm gonna choose some of the faces from here to create the ears. Okay, maybe in here the head goes so much more stretched than the one that I'm creating. Yeah, maybe what I can do is I can select all of them and just extrude that a little bit to the outside, and also with this loop of edges, and maybe maybe a real lion it has this part a little bit more straight. Okay, so maybe now from the front view, maybe now it's too much stretched, but no problem. So anytime we can just refine all the shapes in here now that we have symmetry active. So the changes on one side will be applied on the other one. So it's gonna be much easier to change anything. Okay. So now we're gonna use some of the divisions that we have in here to create the ears. Okay, which is gonna be which ones are gonna be the edges? So I don't know. Maybe it's two ones. Let's see from the front view. I don't know to be these two ones or these two ones. Truth, I don't know. Let's see. No, I think that I prefer these ones. Okay, so to create the ears, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an inset. So clicking I, let me just run the tool so you can see which tool I'm using. So the inset, and let's refine the inset in here a little bit. Okay, now before starting extruding anything, I'd like to refine the shape, the base where I'm creating the ear a little bit. Okay, so it's gonna be easier for me at the end to create the shape that I'm looking for. So maybe select these edges in here, rotate that a little bit, and now more or less I have it ready to extrude and start with the shape of the ear. So from the right view, well, in this case maybe it's better from the front view, so to have an idea more or less, rotate that a little bit. So holding Alt and extruding once, rotating a little bit, scaling a little bit in 3D and in 2D, refining the position and extruding one more time, scaling in 3D and in 2D a little bit. Okay, so this is gonna be the shape. So what we can do right now is just refining the start and the end. Okay, so maybe something like this. It's gonna match a little bit better with the ear. As I told you, it's just a reference. So no problem if we don't match it perfectly. Okay, don't be worried about it. Yep, something like that. Refining the ear in here. And it's gonna be so important that from the right view it goes like a real ear. So sometimes what happens is that we are so much focused on the front view, and the result from the side view it's so ugly. So we don't want that. So something like this, it's quite good. Let me rotate the ear a little bit like that. Okay, and now let me insert all this part in here. So let's insert, yeah, a big inset. I'm gonna refine it. Maybe what I can do in here is, if I want it more symmetrical, maybe go in just to take all these faces and extrude them. Maybe in here, as you can see, the shape it's a little bit different, so this part it's not as extruded as this one. So maybe what I'm gonna do is just extrude this one to the inside, and in here I'm gonna go for a transition or something like that. So something like this. Maybe I'm gonna just move it a little bit. Okay. So the result, it's not getting bad at all. Okay. Maybe on the top part this is a little bit more thinner. So like this. Maybe also this part in here. Okay, not bad at all with the ears work. So now I'm gonna make this a little bit more aligned. Okay, I see that now it's too much stretch. It seems more like a bear than a lion. What we can do right now is, maybe we don't need this definition in here, so we can just delete that, and we can go to the right view. Okay, and select all these parts in here. Okay, maybe I'll have to select everything. So let me change a little bit the shaping here. From the right view it's fine. Okay, I don't like this bottom part to go that bumpy. So I think it's gonna be better like this. Okay, so let's say that we have the face more or less finished. So what I can do right now is I can get rid of detail on this on the last loop. Okay, on this looping here. First of all, let me refine some parts in here. So yeah, so many divisions in here. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of some details in here. So how do I do that? Is delete this one, delete this one. In here, I'm gonna also delete this one, delete this one, and delete this one. So I'm creating all angles, but I'm making it so much easier to change. So I can also do it with this one if I want to. So getting rid of this one, this one, this one, here and here. So what I'm getting with this, it's I just need resolution here on the face, and I don't need it there. So if I want to make any change, so for instance right now the head it's so much rounded and I don't want it, so I just have to select a few edges to change all the thickness. Okay, so let me yeah, I want to select the entire loop, but it's gonna be kind of hard to select everything I want to. Oops, sorry. There we go. Maybe I select everything I wanted to. Okay. Okay, perfect. And now scale a little bit. So now it's gonna be much easier to refine the shape that I'm looking for. So for instance, this parting here of the ear, it's so much outside. I don't like this parting here, so let's go something like that. Okay, perfect. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try to close this parting here. Okay. So when I finished refining, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the entire head. I'm gonna come here, addition, symmetry, and end symmetry. Okay, now the object it's not symmetrical anymore. Now I'm gonna try to close that, and then if I want to, I can just keep refining. Okay, until I get the desired shape. So select the entire object, and what I recommend, well, the entire or just the naked loop of edges in here, and go to addition and fill. Okay, this is creating an angon, so we don't want an angon, but we're gonna refine it right now. So divide from here to here. This is not planar, so maybe we can make sure that this is perfectly planar. Okay, so how do we do that? So it's even easier. So I don't want to select everything. What I want to know is how many edges do I have on one side. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7 on the other one, so it's 14. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to primitives. I'm gonna create a cylinder. I'm gonna move the cylinder here. So with grid snap, I'm gonna move it here, and I'm gonna set segments 14. Okay, perfect. So as I'm setting 14 segments, just need one inset. I'm gonna make sure that this is matching with a perfectly flattened parting here. So let's click OK. Now I'm gonna have to rotate that a little bit so this edge is perfectly here. So I'll try with 6 degrees. Maybe it's better if I calculate that, but 2 degrees, maybe 4 degrees more, maybe 2 more. Okay, maybe -1. Let me change the language to Spanish. -1. Okay, there we go. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just holding shift and moving it here. Now I'm gonna stretch that a little bit, but not so much. Maybe that's too much. Okay, and I'm gonna scale it. I'm scaling in 2D. And from the right view, I'm gonna make the object match with this parting here. Okay, I can make it perfectly flattened or not, as I prefer. Maybe I prefer not to. So going something like this. I'm gonna scale it a little bit more, a little bit less. Okay, something like that's gonna be fine. And from here, okay, it looks quite good. Maybe a little bit smaller. Okay, a little bit smaller. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna select all the edges in here. Okay, and I'm gonna say, okay, all of you are gonna go. I'm gonna match it to all of them and right click. Okay, now are not aligned, so I'm gonna click here to align, and I'm gonna say that this one it's gonna be this one. Okay, so now it's perfectly aligned. Oh, it's not. Sorry, this one it's gonna be this one. Sorry. Perfect. And right click. And in here, if you want the average, it's okay. Right click one more time. And now we have this. Now it's perfectly flattened on the end. Okay, so now if I double click in here, I can just move this part and make it match a little bit better, but we are sure that this is perfectly flattened. Okay, so we can just move it a little bit. We can refine everything we want to. Now remember that we don't have symmetry active. Okay, but the good part is that we can now make this part perfectly flattened and work with anything we need in here. So the first that I'm gonna do is addition and fill, the same that we've done before, and now just select by vertices and divide. Okay, from here to here. Now as it's flattened, I can just divide that, and the result is gonna be so good. Anyway, what I recommend is to finish and have all quads in here. So I'm gonna do something like that, maybe something like this, and something like that. Okay, now from the top view, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of 1/2, like that, delete, and I'm gonna select the other one, addition, symmetry. Now I can go by plane from here to here and right click. Okay, now it's symmetrical one more time, and if I want more definition in here, what I can do is I can select all these faces in here and go inset. Okay, and set this in inset distance, because right now this is gonna be more flattened. Okay, as the object is symmetrical again, I can just give the final look, give the final details, okay, to the model. Okay, without the fear that it's closed, it's open. No, right now it's closed with a flattened cap, so I won't have any problem. And now I can keep refining anything I want to, okay, of my model until I get the final and desired shape. Okay, so that's the basic model of the head. For sure, in here we can add a tongue, add some teeth or anything, but to create the basic head model, this is how we can do it. Okay, if we smooth that, that's the result. So it's a basic tutorial of how to create hard geometries or hard surfaces and how to manage them. Okay, we don't create the hair, so we can create it with another Clayoo object or with a sculpting or with another piece. I'd recommend to be another entire piece. So we are also missing the eyes, but it's just creating a sphere and going symmetrical. So that's the basic tutorial. I don't want this video to be longer. So I hope you like it, and thanks so much for watching. See you on the next one.